Well, ladies and gentlemen, so welcome to our video of 4 planetary conjunctions, and this week we're going to be covering our conjunction of Sun, Venus, Saturn, and Ketu, and what happens when these 4 planets are conjunct in your horoscope, regardless of the sign or the house placement. Now, obviously, the sign and house placement have their own meaning, of course, but we're going to talk this conjunction in general. Later on down the line, we'll cover all the details. So, as always, if you do not know, if you have this conjunction, where it's placed, what sign it's in, what house it's in, what nakshatra it's in, for that, check out the links here. Check out my full astrological report, including my books, Astrology, Conjunction, Aspects, and Mahadashas at the Speed of Light, including all my consultations at this link. So, let's get started with our conjunction video. So, this is a conjunction, okay? I don't know if you have watched my last video of conjunction. I know many people don't because they only want to watch their own conjunction. But as you know, Sun represents the father, government, authority, sole purpose in life. It represents, part of your character, government, fame. Venus represents your spouse, women, girlfriend, happiness, comfort, luxury, devotion. It's your ability to enjoy something based on your decisions. And then you have Saturn. Duty, commitment, sacrifice, discipline, structure, organization, delay. And then you have Ketu. Moksha, spirituality, isolation, research, occult, mysticism, unusual circumstances, sudden explosive circumstances. Because don't think Ketu is a spiritual planet. Ketu is spiritual, but it can also represent terrorism, sudden explosion and implosion. Okay, so you have now these 4 planets conjunct in your horoscope. So naturally, as you know, in this, when you have 3 malefic planets conjunct Venus, first of all, you will understand that this person will find great interest in technical skills, creative technical skills. This person loves designing, politics, government administration. They take pleasure in being surrounded by authoritative figures. It's like their pleasure. Like, I love hanging out with authoritative figures. Because why? Because Venus represents our passion and our interest and the things that we choose, our choices. So here Venus naturally is going to show that because it's being influenced by Saturn, Sun, Ketu, you just love surrounding yourself with mature, old, authoritative people. But also what happens is, because Venus represents marriage, relationship, naturally, first of all, this is a person who will find their right partner late in life. You will find your partner late in life, probably by 34, 33, 35, depending upon especially the house that this is occurring in, or how Venus is situated in your Navamsha. But regardless of even if Venus is exalted in Navamsha, this will delay the significance of your relationship and marriage. Early relationship most definitely will end due to great amount of pressure from parents from both sides due to religious and cultural belief systems. Most definitely lack of pleasure from the other person. Like, if you were you found a great partner at the age of 22, 23, 24, your boyfriend or girlfriend is great. But then, especially when it comes to being satisfied sexually, you may not be, because right now Venus is so hot and burning, and then Venus is close to these 2 cold planets like Saturn and Ketu. It's just going to disturb that pleasure seeking for Venus. These are the people who have the hardest time keeping deciding on to who they want to be with. They're early in life, they're never satisfied with whoever, like if they had a relationship at 20, then they had a relationship at 24, they will always try to remember that relationship at 20. Oh my God, I wish I could go back to him. Oh my God, I wish I could have that person. Same thing, if they break up with somebody at 24 again, 25, and they find somebody at 29, they will always remember the last two people that they were with. Like, oh wow, I wish I could go back and hang out with them. It was so great talking to them, and it was so great to go out to movies with this person. Like, there's this natural dissatisfaction for the current situation, but always regurgitating on the past. Because Ketu and Saturn represents our past, the time. Okay, and because Saturn represents the accumulated, the results of the karma. So that means it is talking about the past. Ketu is the past lives that you have lived. And Sun, which is a hot burning planet, which loves to kind of like expose things. It exposes your Venus to such a degree where you're always running into great situations, but once you get those situations, dealing with those situations becomes the hardest thing. Like for these people, it won't be hard, especially Venus is, let's say, is in Rohini Nakshatra. This person will always attract older men or women in their life, like constantly. So that's not a problem to attract somebody with this conjunction. The problem is sustaining it. Like, especially, I actually had this conjunction maybe a week or two ago. I don't really remember, but it was definitely like within the last 2 weeks. It was occurring in the 9th house. So naturally, whenever it occurs in the 9th house, you know that you are to get married late. This person gets into relationship very easily, but trying to convert that relationship into a marriage becomes that. Now that becomes the hard task and challenge. And there's no challenge because you can't go against the will of the universe. So it is going to give those things, and obviously shows that you've had tremendous amount of power struggles with the father, especially when it came to your passion, pleasure, and relationship. Your father wanted to put his own decision in your life. And for that is the reason why you would not have the greatest relationship with the father because of this. I'm going to go buy a car. Okay, well, you're going to get this car, not that car. This color, not that color. Or you want to marry, only marry this person, not that person. She or he should be like this, not like that. So you are very restricted by your choices, but when you try to break free from those choices, obviously that the malefic impact of these two planets will manifest. Because remember, Saturn and Sun are like father and son. Sun and Saturn. So you're always going to have, whenever you seek Venus, the choices of father will come up first. Now obviously if you do follow your father's choices, then this Venus will be able to not have that bad relationship with the father. But the thing is, you won't be satisfied with it. So it's like, what do you want? Do you want your own pleasure? Do you want your own happiness? You want to sacrifice that for your father? And this also causes, depending on if your Jupiter, regardless of the ascendant, if your Jupiter is in Kendra or Trikona, especially Trikona, the trinal houses, this actually causes a very spiritual yoga. Like somebody who will ultimately can follow a path of spirituality, or being a nun or celibate type of life later on, because and again, like I said, it like this position of the conjunction has to be in Kendra in a certain sign, while Jupiter is in Kendra or Trikona. It'll cause that yoga where frustration from certain things, especially when it comes to Venusian things, you'll be like, I just want to devote myself to God. I don't want to devote myself to material relationship, material wealth, cars, and jewelry. I want to simply seek the true Venus, which is devotion towards the higher divine self. So you will find people who will seek a more spiritual life, even if they're caught in the the world of material relationship like marriage, they will still seek that isolation from all these things. But naturally, you will always find, especially for men, you will end up with women who are very mature in nature. Now, here's the thing. If, let's say, this conjunction occurs in Taurus or Libra, where Venus is either in its own sign or Venus is in Multrikon sign, most definitely shows you will be able to overcome all these issues of Venus. Because here Saturn supports Venus, because Saturn would be exalted in Libra. Saturn actually helps Venus. So even though Saturn is a malefic planet, you got to understand the friendship within the realm of astrology. Sun is the enemy, Saturn is the friend, and Ketu is neutral to Venus. So depending upon the sign, it will greatly tell us how like your relationship with the father will be excellent. If, let's say, you know, this occurs in the sign of Libra. Because why? If this occurs in Aries, you will not have a good relationship with the father. You will not. It'll be axis of heat. I'm sorry, I got a dog here in my eye. That's what I'm trying to remove. So just because Sun is exalted doesn't mean that you're going to have a great relationship with the father. Remember, you got to see how many maximum of planets do well in a certain sign. So Venus and Saturn do extremely well in Libra. Ketu becomes quite neutral and good in Libra. Sun is what's debilitated in Libra. So 3 planets are really supporting the sign of Libra versus 1 planet in Aries. So father will be overpowering figure upon your life. Now, if this happens in Libra, there will be quite diplomacy through the father. Father would be a very diplomatic, very liberal person who would be able to have a great relationship with you, because Libra is what? Relationship. And when Venus gains strength, boom, that sign becomes strengthened. Okay. So guys, this was my analysis of Sun, Venus, Saturn, Ketu conjunction. If you're new in my channel, subscribe below. Again, if you want to know where your placement is, all my books, reports, consultations, for that, check out the links here. Otherwise, we'll see you later. Bye-bye.